For those of you wondering why his beatboxing is so good, it's because he won't stop doing it. Literally ever. I have known him like 10 years now, probably like 11 or 12 years, and ever since I have known Nex, he has been beatboxing.
Oh my god, so funny.
It's yeah. Oh dang it! I have the stream going, and I was like, I read it, but it's way too goddamn fast.
Read what?
The guy who was plugging something.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's true. Cool. Well, he might have been plugging himself. We have some other broadcasters in here, and the more the merrier here in the RD2L. That's what I say. And, well, Tidehunter is the first pick.
Yeah,
and we're going to start a little earlier.
You know, like, Tidehunter, super safe option. Sure, it shows what you want to do with your off lane more often than not, but Tidehunter, strong hero, hard to take down in the lane, good team fight hero, and the past like 2 or 3 Tidehunters we've seen like have literally been a just team fighting machine. You get super fast mana boot, super fast blank, and more often than not a mech, which is just great. Like, I don't expect to see something like that smart within the RD2L, but it's a great idea. You can get it fast enough on a Tidehunter, that's for sure.
Yep. Witch Doctor, Wind Ranger being the follow-up, and then the Tinker for Olimar and Lurie. Supposedly he's the dirty Tinker picker, which is always nice to see a good Tinker picker later in the game. At least it's fun to watch, not fun to play against. That's for damn sure.
I remember, I don't know, like more than like 4 or 5 months ago when you never saw Tinker, and you're like, oh, that guy's playing Tinker. What a refreshing thing that's happening. And now you see Tinker, and you're just like, shake fists at the Tinker and just rage upon rage upon rage.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's
like,
how people feel about Tinker now.
He's like, just, yeah, I mean, the ability, okay, so Tinker, or Nature's Prophet, like, is better at splish pushing, so you hate that part of him, but Tinker can, like, hurt you more, I believe, like, for sure, in the late game when he gets items. And here's another probably more annoying part. He can, like, make it so you can't push anywhere. Like, having to push high ground against a Tinker, even late game, doesn't matter, like, is so tough. And it's just like, ugh. The only way to do it is if you, like, tanky heroes. And you just, like, you're like, listen, we're going to push with this creep wave regardless. We're going. Like, and then you just charge up and hope for the best. And that doesn't always work out your way.
It's so true. You can't even build, like, a BKB and have it solve the problem, because March is composite damage, meaning it's physical and magical.
Honestly, that part makes no sense to me, because, like, okay, there's a lot of abilities that get blocked by BKB. Ravage is blocked by BKB, and that's an ultimate. That's not a spammable ability. Like, what makes March, you know, like, not... why shouldn't it be counterable by BKB? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna pop BKB for March, do it. Like, you're using a BKB charge. I feel like that would be, like, one of the best fixes for Tinker is,
like,
sure.
Specifically because people play him so much now, it seems like an obvious thing to make March either magical or physical at this point. Probably magical, just so BKB can block it and you don't have to build crazy armor strats to counter Tinker.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
having it be composite seems super good, because you can't, like, pipe a creep wave and have it be okay. You can't BKB and walk up against it. Like, it's so strong for a hero that is getting picked up quite a fair amount now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you made pipe get blocked, or pipe block March, then that'd be a giant. That'd be almost too much. But BKB is only on 1 hero, so that'd be one way of going about it, like in a very small step in that direction. Going over the bans though, Earthshaker, Wraith King from the Dire, and the Silencer and the Pugna coming out from the Radiant team.
That's I don't know, like, you don't see that kind of banning style a lot, but it's super smart. Like, nobody wants to fight against a Silencer, nobody wants to fight against a Tinker.
Yeah, it's a Tinker and a Tidehunter,
I mean, wow, a Tinker. Well, that's true, nobody does want to fight against a Tinker, but nobody wants to fight against a Pugna. And Pugna's a great counter to Tinker, as well as Tidehunter. Like, it's a bummer, Tidehunter, like, jumping in and taking, like, 500 damage from Ravage or something like that, but oh no, not
happening
this again.
It's happening. The Jungle Ogre Magi is real. We're seeing it now. He's going to stay in the jungle. He's going to get a 40-minute Mask of Madness Basher, guys. It's going to be amazing. He's going to stack attack speed with 0 damage, and he's not going to get any bash procs. And the PA on the other team is going to 3-shot him. So that's what we're going to see.
Yeah, if we know anything about what we've seen so far, that is exactly right.
10 seconds.
We only say that because, yeah, there was another game yesterday that got casted with that exact thing. We saw a jungling Necrolite and a jungling Ogre Magi in subsequent games. The Clockwork pick, I didn't really mention anything about that yet. Just, you know, it's getting picked early. Usually gets picked like later in the draft, but I'm a bigger fan of Clockwork than I think that most people are. I think he's a really good hero, crazy good hero, really good offlaner too. Just in general, yeah. So strong hero.
I think there's a couple ways to counter Clockwork. I don't think like his offlane is as strong as say like Tidehunter's is.
I don't know, maybe. Tidehunter's really strong, but Clock has a better escape than Tidehunter does. Because Clockwork's tanky as well, and if he gets a shield, then he's now like spending money, sure, but he's getting what Kraken Shell does, and then but now he has power cogs, and that's just so freaking good. Unless they have something like a disruptor or something like that, or a silencer, which is banned out to like make sure he doesn't have any mana to cogs or something like that.
I'm fearful for the Dire team at the moment because they're all pretty squishy. Like Clockwork is a strength hero and he's kind of tanky, but he's also kind of squishy to an extent. He doesn't have like super high crazy strength gain like neither does Tidehunter, but Tidehunter's strength gain is higher than Clockwork. Same with Ogres, in fact, and Ogre is int hero. So what does that say? So I'm just worried that they're gonna have to fight into a Tidehunter role. So okay, I'll one thought at a time, Rankshis. We'll have to fight into a Tidehunter ult, and then we'll have to fight into Tinker March, Tinker Missile, so on and so forth. They're really squishy for that. And obviously, the Radiant's like, do you know what would help our Ogre Magi jungle? Is that if the other team doesn't get a Phantom Assassin to apparently, quote-unquote, counter the Ogre Magi late game, and so they pick up the Phantom Assassin, which is definitely the best like course of action they have available to them.
Yeah. And being able to blink like into the cogs or out of the cogs, that's a good, you know, it's like of all the people you could pick other ones with blinks, but Phantom Assassin just as a good damage alternative to someone who has a blink. And Storm Spirit, they get, like Dire Team has so much reach right now. Storm Spirit and Clockwork, they can initiate, they can bring in people. If they went like a Lifestealer, that'd be a good like versatile option to both dodging Tidehunter, some of Tinker's stuff, and also being able to initiate with Clockwork and Storm Spirit.
That's pretty true. They do need somebody who's pretty tanky to like help the front line, because if Clockwork jumps in by himself every time, he's gonna die. Pretty standardly, and a Lion pick.
Wow. So no actual late game right click carry besides the Windrunner. We saw it before, and she did really good once she got an Orchid into Desolator. I don't remember actually if that team won. I don't think it did. But
I do not believe so.
Yeah,
not saying you can't do it. Like I've talked about Wind Ranger carry before. It's definitely strong with the changes to Focus Fire, Aghanims, and in a different way Maelstrom, but that's a whole different
Storm Spirit balls out of control, then he could also help in the late game as far as that goes. But Rubik, the last pick coming out from the Radiant, and that's going to finish up our draft. I didn't actually introduce us at the beginning of this because I'm tired. I just woke up. Well, I'm not tired, but I just woke up and I'm not completely refreshed. So this is Next Level Dota. I'm your host, Next, with my other host,
Rankshis. Who am I?
We haven't gotten this down, but
yeah, no, this is horribly unpracticed.
But yep, Next and Rankshis here, bringing you RD2L. Exciting drafts usually coming out, and it's exciting games. And thanks for watching. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Follow us if you want to be notified when we're streaming. We're doing it consistently. I just posted on the RD2L subreddit, and I cover our schedule. So if you want to see our schedule, I posted it there, among other things about us and why we're here. So go ahead and check that out. It's on basically the top post. I believe it still should be the top post. And yeah, so that's us, and the draft is finished, and the game will now commence.
So something I didn't talk about that I am actually thinking about. I had Mercy. I had to pick Ogre. I really hope he's not jungling Ogre this time. Wow, he disconnected. Oh,
dodge from Louis.
Louis wanted to play Tinker, if I know.
Yeah.
anything about anything. But like I was saying, Witch Doctor's ult is physical. Does that mean Phantom Assassin can dodge part of Witch Doctor's ult with Blur?
Okay, so that is a really good question. I believe, if I'm going to say a quick answer, no, because despite magic being having the physical damage type, it is still discernible as it's a magical spell that is physical. It's a spell that is physical, and that interacts differently than actual physical right clicks. That is my first shooting from the hip guess.
Are you sure about that?
I am. If I had to put a percentage, it'd be about 75 to 80% correct. Wait, no, I'm taking it back. Wait, yeah, because the fountain dodges, and like that's I think that can be considered right clicks, but it can also be considered spell. So actually, I don't 100% know.
I'm gonna ask Google.
Yeah, go to the wiki on Blur, and maybe it'll say something about, or maybe you would have to Google it. But this is good. We're this, like, I'm sure you guys might know as well. Also, put in chat if you think you have an answer. I want to see what you guys think, if you guys are 100% sure about that. But we're all going to learn together. We all learned something, is what we'll be able to tell ourselves in just a few moments.
According to the Dev Dota 2 forms, intended, Witch Doctor Death Ward can be evaded.
Got it. Nice. Okay, cool. So
yeah, you could, which that's cool to know. Like that's we've been seeing a lot of Witch Doctor pick up, and knowing that Phantom Assassin is actually kind of a counter to it is pretty cool.
It's a really good point. Because physical ults and physical damage is kind of a good counter to BKB and whatnot, but now there's a counter to the counter, and that's PA. Wow. I wonder if that's true for every physical damage instant spell, like Bristleback Quills, among,
Well, Bristleback Quills are still an AoE thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But, like, it's like physical damage, and, like, I don't know, maybe, like, the Poison Touch is physical. Can you dodge the ticks of that? Can you dodge... See, that's, like, yeah, I guess if it's AoE, that's a good point. You shouldn't be able to dodge it. You're right about that. Interesting. What else is like single target and physical? There isn't much. Most like AoE spells that are spells that are physical are AoE, I think. There's like Shadow Wave, physical and AoE. Poison Touch is single target.
Omar
but it's like
and
a
Louis
dot.
has returned to the game.
We got ourselves a game, yeah. Alright, I'm going to announce who's playing who here. Roar playing the Witch Doctor. Pro Carbon playing the Storm Spirit. End Sphere on the Clockwork. Nex with an apostrophe. Note the apostrophe. Playing the Lion. I am Nex without an apostrophe. And T Swift X with an apostrophe playing the Wind Ranger. I actually caught myself. I was going to say Windrunner, but I got it that time. I got criticized for calling Necrophos Necrolite in previous casts, so... People call me out. I like it. It's good.
You did call Wind Ranger Windrunner.
Yeah.
Like all yesterday.
All yesterday, probably.
Yep.
All right, on the Radiant team, the Offlane, the Strong, the Bestial, the Watermelon, WKS playing on the Tidehunter, Noob in the mid lane. I thought Olimar and Louis was actually going to play the Tinker, but instead it's going to be Olimar and Louis playing on Ogre Magi. So Noob playing on the Tinker, and like I said, Ogre Magi being played by Olimar and Louis. PA being played by Anexi, almost like Anuxi, the Workshop famous waifu creator, and, creator who is a waifu. And D-Dieter playing the Rubik. And that's everyone, folks. Everyone's been called out. Everyone is getting their 15 minutes of fame here in the RD2L on the Next Level Dota cast. Woo! I'm psyched.
So something really nice to see is that Ogre Magi doesn't have a Quelling Blade. So
wonderful.
Maybe it's not a jungle Ogre Magi. What a world this would be.
What a world. Wow, he's straying from the meta. He's not being a carry.
What a obviously bad player, so I'm literally messing with you, Omar and Louis. I'm really happy to see that you're not a jungling.
Our sarcasm's pretty thick.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just so relieved to see that you're not jungling. It was not fun to watch yesterday because it was just jungling all game. So anyways, cool. Oh, and I didn't forget my last hits. Boom, so good. Loving
you know
it.
what key brings up last hits? Don't look.
W.
That's right.
Yayer. Nice. All right, so looking at the lanes, it's the off lane Clockwork being against the Rubik and the PA dual lane with a stacking and pulling Ogre Magi. This is good. You want the ranged hero in lane, be able to harass and zone, while the melee, who isn't able to do much, is just stacking and pulling. And also, most melee supports are pretty level dependent. That's just like a blanket statement I can pretty safely make. And the Tidehunter in the off lane, same thing, getting zoned out by the Witch Doctor. And now there's going to be some bounces from the Paralyzing Cast with a level 1 Shackle Shot. And they're definitely going to get a lot of damage. There's no Kraken Shell, but he does have the Stout Shield, so that's blocking a lot of that damage. He got a good amount of procs from the Stout Shield. And, well,
it is nice to see that somebody picked up a Tidehunter and obviously going into the off lane. And the way to counter that is not having like a melee farmer. And they have a Wind Ranger farming, so it's going to be really hard to land Anchor Smash and reduce that damage.
Very
that's
true.
His biggest strength that he has available to him.
Yeah, and definitely I see most, as we've seen, most lanes have switched it up, if not already planned it out, that like there's a ranged hero against the Tidehunter, whether that be in a solo or against that defensive or aggro tri-lane. We saw the Pugna getting switched in that one game where it was Pugna versus Tidehunter, despite the fact that I think Tidehunter did pretty well against that matchup, surprisingly. But yeah, so this Tidehunter, if the Dire is playing well, they should actually be able to zone him out. We'll see. He's level 2.5 and on his way to level 3, whereas the Clockwork is about doing a little bit worse. He hasn't even gotten his level 2 yet. Do you see that the score is, well, actually they're going on the Tidehunter. There's a level 1 Shackle, but they stacked the stuns a little bit and didn't get a lucky Paralyzing Cask, and no stun came out from the Lion just yet. Do you see
Were
that
you gonna say that it's 2-2?
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that right at the start.
Kind of hilarious. What is this? A best of 5? Is this TI5 Grand Finals? Is this the main stage? Did I make it, guys?
Yep.
No.
It's a dream come true. Right here now.
And First Blood goes the way of the Tinker. I missed it in the mid lane, and he was just, I guess, had the nukes. You saw that the Heat-Seeking Missile and the lasers on cooldown. Level 2 laser being just leveled, and nuke damage. Wow. Outplayed, says Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend's not here.
Yeah, I just love that line. It's awesome that he like actually says that. Well, on a good roll here. We missed First Blood. First cast of the day. We're just warming up, guys. I apologize, but I guarantee it was just Storm Spirit being like, I'm fabulous, and then Tinker being like, haha, it never misses, and just lasers his face.
I'm sure it was actually a lot like that.
Yeah. So, let's see. CS-wise, yeah, the offlaners are about the same. And Radiant's doing really well in terms of last hits. PA and the Tinker getting the most last hits in the game by far. So the PA is doing really good, and the Wind Ranger's surprising. Well, she's doing all right, but yeah. So it's looking good for the PA, I should say that.
I feel like the Wind Ranger has spent a lot of time trying to harass the Tide. And by the way, like, again, the strength of Tide, like, they have spent a long time harassing. In fact, if there was like a damage taken meter, I'm sure Tide would be really close to the top. And Wind Ranger and for the most part, this Witch Doctor, I haven't seen the Lion go into lane, so at least 2 of them have been dedicating a lot of time and resources to try to kill him, and they can't do it. Whereas the Clockwork in the off lane is like really struggling. Like, he's level 4 now, so he's not like having too bad of a time, but he was kind of kept down a little bit more than the Tide was, and it was just easier to do.
Yeah, I was just saying, mainly I think what's happening here, Clockwork stealing the Invis in the bot lane, is that the Radiant supports have stacked better and pulled better and just have zoned out the Clockwork in general better, because yeah, he is definitely hurting on levels. Looking at levels, let's see, there it is, E. Clockwork is doing, yeah, he's way lower on that. He's 4 to... Oh, well, actually, he was way worse, but now I guess both are 4. I suppose maybe the Tidehunter did get zoned better now, but what I was basically going to say is that this line here was where Tidehunter and the Creep Wave were, and he was just soaking up a lot of XP. Invis Clockwork on the bottom lane, he's got 2 points into Battery Assault. He might be able to make something happen here, but certainly not on the Ogre Magi.
It'll be hard, because even if he could, because he definitely has to go on the Rubik, but Rubik could just lift and throw him outside the cogs, so yeah. It'll be hard for him to make anything of that. It's probably best that he just soak with it, but he didn't even want to do that.
Yeah. So, some spectator chat coming out. Tidehunter was about to get ganked. They were looking to just try to wrap on him, but this Tidehunter's been smart about not being completely caught out. They tried the shackle there because they want the shackle initiation. Well, I mean, I'd say that you can really initiate with her spike and then set up the better shackle, but the shackle is still only one point, of course. Going wind run, he might have gone to go shackle like level 2 and like try to make something happen, but this is safer just going wind run and having that. Pretty important. You wouldn't get wind run until level 8 if you didn't get it now, pretty much. So if you don't get it at level 4, you have to get it at level 8. Yeah.
This Wind Ranger also looks like she's going your beloved Orchid build, which
Good.
I
Agree
made
with.
you look
Well,
like a fool for yesterday.
I don't know. Oh yeah, I guess. Well, and okay, so this is different though. She's like the carry. So although they need an Orchid because like Orchids are good, and I mean, anytime there's a Tidehunter, why not? Oh, now they're going to Storm Spirit's here. This is a really good game coming out from the Dire team. Storm Spirit was ready to go. The Tidehunter was in a bad spot. He would have had to run all the way around. And this is the early game gank potential coming out from Storm Spirit. You want to keep farming. You want to be super greedy. But if you have the mana and you kind of be efficient about it, and like look at the efficiency, TPing directly back to the mid, not losing much CS, you can get those ganks, make space for your team, and kind of literally ball into the late game, which is what needs to happen here coming out from the Dire team because of that late game lack of potential.
Yeah, I wouldn't say lack of potential. In fact, Wind Ranger is probably going to do very well against a PA. Like Wind Ranger's one of those people that you can carry with that
Denied.
If PA jumps on you, have a way of dealing with it like immediately. Like you just wind run and you man fight, and what's a PA gonna do against that? I would say most of like their mid game and their late game will actually be played pretty well by a Wind Ranger.
I agree with that. When Blur is at 50% though, like MKB needs to happen on Wind Ranger.
Yeah, this is another problem with going Orchid right off the bat. I think is you're gonna go Orchid, then you're gonna go probably. Yeah, I mean, I would hope you would go Maelstrom.
Lane. There's the stun from Paralyzing Cask. It does get bounced back once, but there's no actual shackle, and there's nothing left. There's no Maledict. It is a level 2 Voodoo Restoration once again, and they're actually gonna dive it and get the kill on the Tidehunter. I didn't actually think that she would do that. I was kind of looking at the spell levels coming out from Wish Doctor, but yeah, gets the kill by diving the tower a little bit.
That's a positive thing about Wind Run is you do have a like essentially a 3-second like speed burst, and you can dive a tower.
A 2v3 down bottom. Dire's getting active, and now Clockwork's in a lot of trouble. Storm Spirit's helping out here. He gets a kill on the Rubik. Now the Ogre Magi is going to go down as well. The Battery Assault's level 3, and there's a lot of nuke damage coming out from the Storm Spirit. He got a lot of overload procs on a lot of people, so those supports getting burned down completely, and actually a DC coming out from the Rubik, and the pause to follow. Tinker, it does now have his bots 8 minutes in, so he could have been there a little bit earlier. Like, obviously he was doing something, he couldn't have been there, but he has his bots now, so hopefully he'll be able to help out when that happens next time. That's a good way to respond to Storm Spirit, kind of diving. You have someone who can TP anywhere that they need. He has some levels in his nukes now. It's only level 2, but, I mean, that's pretty good nuke damage, and the rearms there.
It's refreshing to see, as somebody who's seen quite a bit of Storm, it's nice to see a Storm player who's willing to gank. Because, like, Storm is a mid-hero, Storm's kind of a carry, and Storm wants a level, so it's really easy to be like, hey guys, I'm going to sit mid for a while, just deal with it. But he's definitely trying to create space for his team, and it's nice to see it happen, because they're going to pull so far ahead because of this. Like, Clockwork is an offlaner, obviously going to be having a hard time, and it's hard to kill Tide in lane, as you saw when they initiated on him, like, several times in the early game and nothing happened. So, like, having a... Yeah, why are you guys unpausing? He's DC'd.
Yeah, Ogre Magi just DC'd after the pause came out.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so it's nice to see that he does realize that roaming is definitely what his team needs right now, even though it'd be really easy just to pause, stay mid and farm. Wow, my brain is making weird connections.
Yeah, that's the first game of the day. Like, it's really tough to get your brain in gear. Like, I've even had half a cup of coffee. I never get through a full cup.
Oh, so like I was saying, before all of this happened, Wind Ranger's going to go Orchid, and then I would hope she goes Maelstrom, just because Maelstrom is probably the most effective like damage item you can get on a Wind Ranger. Almost said Wind Runner there, but I caught myself. And then at some point you would hopefully want to get a Aghanims on Wind Ranger, because Aghanims really just makes focus fire like this domination spell that you have.
Wow, so mid, the Lion and Storm Spirit tried to go on Tinker, and they got really close, but I'm so surprised that Tinker wasn't able to die, and that was definitely because of the lack of mana coming out from Storm Spirit. But he did use the Electric Vortex, and wasn't able to get a Standing Remnant to actually hit him on the body, but he was trying to get some Overload, like to actually kill him, but Tinker didn't go down. And the blind, Tinker actually turned to blind Storm Spirit as well, so that he could not get any more right clicks in. That was cool. That's an easy gank, but Storm Spirit didn't have mana, so that's gonna be bad for. Well, I guess I'd say that would be one way of continuing to win. I was gonna say that they were actually behind, but yeah, Dire is doing really good right now. And yeah, like you said, like I don't know, like Storm Spirit's such a weird hero because he needs everything. He needs levels, he needs farm. But he has that power in the early game, and depending on how your team's built, I don't know. Like, if you have people to make space for you, that's great. But if you don't, like, Dire has a really good team for the early game, for sure. Like, in my opinion. So they have to get active. Because, well, obviously Radiant has PA, but yeah, Wind Ranger's not being the early active person, so like it's kind of Storm has to take up that role.
By the way, I am not talking in Dota TV.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird. Maybe,
we'll
fix it after this team fight. So there's a Death Ward, gets instantly catched by the Wit Doctor because I think he might have gotten stunned or something, but now Rubik's getting gone on by the Storm Spirit. Ravage comes out, it's on to 2. The Witch Doctor did dodge it, now Storm Spirit's backing up, but Tidehunter has kind of blown his load, but now he wand charge, he has a little bit of mana left, but the Radiant's actually in the back lines because the Dire is completely here. It's a 5 people from the Dire here, and now just Tinker and PA getting blocked out by the Cogs. But yeah, going the way of the Dire once again. This is amazing rotations coming out from the Dire. There was a 2-man smoke coming up from the Rubik and I think the Witch Doctor, and then there was already 3 up here, and I think a TP came out as from the Dire as well. So yeah, 5 people here just to make sure that team fight goes their way, and they get 2.
Good response against the Ravage. So how about we unmute co-casters, because apparently people aren't hearing me through Dota TV.
Yeah, that's bad. All right, I unmuted co-caster. So now I wonder if that would mute it. Well, okay. So if you talk, it's gonna hear you, right? Go ahead and talk.
Oh, I need to open mic. Sorry.
Oh, well, you needed to have open mic regardless.
Yeah, I just realized that.
There we go. We found the problem.
Realized that, everybody.
It's all good. I mean, we're just getting our settings down, and we're trying something new.
Wow. So I didn't even think about it with like this new thing we're trying. So.
Yep. So now Dota TV should work for Rankshis.
All right, now it should. Hopefully.
Yeah, it'll work. I'd be a monkey's uncle if it doesn't work.
Would you?
Yes, literally. My brother's having a baby, so my brother will have a monkey baby if this doesn't work, and I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Boy, what a weird way to word that. Okay, so we were trying something new, and maybe I made a mistake. I'm not gonna put the blame on me. I'm definitely gonna put it on other people. So
fair enough.
Everybody who can hear me, let me know if everything's sounding all right, so on and so forth.
Yep.
But yeah.
And this should be improving the audio quality of the stream for Rankshis' audio. So that's the benefit of trying this out. And so this should be better all in all, now that it works.
Hopefully it is.
Yep.
So, like I was saying earlier about Wind Ranger, you need all these items, and then she's going to need a MKB against a PA. That's like 4 items that you theoretically want to get relatively quickly. So we'll see how she does it.
Yep. And what I just noticed, it was kind of funny. Tinker was stacking these ancients while also marching, and the Radiant has a ward here. So they saw what was kind of happening, and then as soon as the Dire smoked up and put a ward right here, it was like at the instant of 0-0, and the Ancients didn't spawn, and then Tinker pinged it out. So that might be the quickest D-ward ever. We'll see. Like what you want when you D-ward Ancients is you want it to you put the ward there, and they try to stack it, but don't verify that it's stacked, and then they do that multiple times, and then it takes multiple minutes for it to get D-warded, but now it's getting instantly D-warded, unfortunately.
They're actually getting 2 wards out of this too, which is
Oh wow.
definitely a bummer. You never want to see that happen because the first ward didn't expire yet. It was close, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's got to be the happiest support ever. Getting 100 gold from dewarding.
100 gold? Come on. That ward literally paid for itself.
Yeah.
That one ward did.
Yeah.
He's not going to get lucky twice and have it be essentially free dewarding, but...
Yeah. So the Storm Spirit going Orchid as well? So they're going to have 2 Orchids on their team?
Unlike the last time I said this, I don't think they have too many people that they have to Orchid, so I guess Orchid isn't as... It's hard to say bad, but I'm gonna do it. Orchid isn't as bad of an item as it was the last time I made this counter argument.
Also, by the way, I thought a second ago as well, oh wow, the creep getting killed and Tinker not being able to TP, is that by Wind Ranger getting Orchid, it's a really good hybrid item because it also gives her tons of damage. When you look at the attack speed it gives her, in addition to the intellect, like it gives attack speed, damage, intellect, and then much needed mana regen as well. But actually, that's something having mid. Tidehunter getting got on. He's stuck in cogs, and he's definitely going to be dead. Actually, wow, that was a stolen death ward coming out from the Rubik, so he wasn't able to get a kill out of it, but it was doing a lot of damage, and maybe the Radiant will re-engage. The Tidehunter's dead, but he has buyback. He does have Ravage. Maybe they'll try to go on something when he comes up 15 seconds in the future. But there's a DD on over Magi. Look at that. He's just trying to whack people. But yeah, so that was mainly the thing. Is like, okay, so Wind Ranger, yeah, she wants to be a carry, but she also needs mana. So like, if you just went complete mana items, then you might not have enough mana to actually do what you want to do. And
that's kind of true. Her spell costs are kind of high, but at the same time, I think if you do work into a Aghanim Scepter at some point, it definitely
you get max mana pool, but you don't get regen. Like the max mana pool definitely helps.
You're correct. You don't get regen, but you do eventually like kind of out level your problems with mana, kind of. Like you're not gonna spam Shadow Shot, for instance. You will spam a little bit of Power Shot, but it's not a huge deal. You'll spam Focus Fire a little bit, but Focus Fire relatively cheap, and you do have like okay like int growth. What is it? 2.6. Alright, not great, but it's all right. It's not terrible.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a thin line of what builds like you can do. It seems pretty open. About like I bet you could really theory craft this and put it on a spreadsheet. Looking at the wards coming out from the Dire, so they did finally, they're like, okay, we have to get these Ancients blocked. And so there's a ward actually right here blocking that Ancients.
Now you are broken.
Oh, I'm broken?
Yep.
How is that possible? I literally didn't change anything. Okay. Let's see. Sorry guys, for the technical difficulties. My open mic is on. And mute co-broadcasters. So if you unmute co-broadcasters, check if you hear me.
Okay, hold up.
Okay.
Doing that right now.
Sorry if the technical difficulties. We're going to be streaming a lot today, so we're just trying to fix this right now. Get it over with. Won't miss the action. Storm Spirit getting gone on. He gets a stolen Earth Spike from the Rubik. This Rubik's been actually getting some really good spells, and the Storm Spirit is able to get away. Had enough mana, but failed gank from the Radiant. So do you hear me in game?
Yes.
So like I don't understand how you could be hearing me in game, but it not be attributed to Dota TV. So we'll have to figure out that a little bit later. So sorry about the guys in Dota TV. If you're in Dota TV, I would recommend coming to my Twitch. But if you want to hear me, that's fine. Or you can just stay in game and watch. I won't. I'm the one having, I guess, technical difficulties. So however you want to go about it, I'm down and will support you. But yeah, so you can unmute me or whatever, or remute me. But yeah, I can't really think of anything right now that can help the Dota TV portion. For the guys watching in the stream, just to make sure to have me selected as a broadcaster. That was my one thing I was wondering about. Click open the spectator menu, and this might be kind of obvious, so I don't mean to be saying something obvious if you guys already know, but
oh, he means it.
Yeah, like make sure you have it selected both voice and camera.
Oh my god, now my mic isn't showing up.
Ravage being used in the bot lane. It's 2v2, so now Storm Spirit's going to take this haste rune that just spawned a little bit earlier, and he's going to pretty much just walk away. Ravage being expended for no actual kills, and Radiant's doing their best to kind of make fights like go their way, like so that they don't get killed. It's trying to ball into the late game, like kind of get to the late game. I guess is the main way of saying that.
okay. It's back. Do you know what you should try?
What
You should
should
just try muting and unmuting, or sorry, open mic and closing mic.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay, there it is. And I'll also reduce my threshold just to make sure.
And is the little chat bubble coming up on the bottom right when you talk?
Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. So I literally think we have fixed our problem.
Cool.
If I had to put money on it, I would say problem solved.
You say the fix is to disable and re-enable because there's some bug on the Dota TV side.
I would assume so, because when people said they couldn't hear me, I looked and I couldn't see my little bubble, but now the bubble's back, and apparently people can hear me 2 minutes ago.
Guys, we're learning. This is happening.
Dota is challenging sometimes, and not even the playing aspect of Dota. Literally way different parts of Dota.
Yeah. Looks like someone TP'd here into the trees in the bot lane. It was a Tinker that was it blinked into the trees, and they were trying to find him, and he was like, please no. Top lane. Oh, actually Tinker going on the Wind Ranger and actually getting a kill. Really nice. He has a Dagon now, so the burst damage, and mid lane the tower goes down. And what towers went down here? Let's see. Phantom Assassin destroyed a tower, Storm Spirit destroyed a tower bottom as well. So there we go.
This is also why I think Wind Ranger is going to need a Aghanims, is because Tinker can burst Wind Ranger down. So Wind Ranger needs like a tank item of some sort just to make sure you're not instantly gonna die, and that's either gonna be BKB or an Aghanim Scepter.
She like has to get a BKB because she's the only like main right clicker, and it's just the easiest laser of Tinker's life, right? Like the 100% miss chance.
And he has a Dagon, so
yeah.
You know.
BKB is on the board, which as a Wind Ranger you don't want to get. It sucks. If they had like an Omni Knight, that's why I think Omni Knight's amazing. Then you don't have to worry about BKB, and your damage dealers can just go straight damaged items. But this Lion is definitely going to go down here after the Stifling Dagger and the right clicks from the PA. Got found out. Radiant has wards here. This is really good from the Radiant. They're finding picks and has good map control now because of these wards. Props on that Stifling Dagger. It is actually a crit. It is a slow, but she actually goes her way around the other way from the trees. But he's going to get caught out after the Rubik lift. Now Wind Ranger and Storm Spirit on the back lines, they're actually going in on this after the fact, and now it's only 2v5. This is a really dangerous engagement. Wind Ranger goes down, and Storm Spirit almost to follow. He's out of mana now, and maybe they'll chase, but they choose not. Wow, that was really good for the Radiant.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think it would go the Radiant's way there for a second, but here we are.
Yeah, the Dire did get 2 towers. Wait. No, actually, it was a trade in towers. Yeah, mid went down for the Dire. Radiant got down in the bot lane. So it was a trade there, and yeah, I guess Radiant doing really well. I guess Tinker is like one of the main reasons for that. That Dagon has been doing work so far. He's been able to like initiate with that and get kills on someone before the fight even begins. And he's holding down the Wind Ranger. Wind Ranger's going, okay, I got Orchid now. But like it's 21 minutes, and pretty soon here I'm gonna feel like I'm just not doing enough damage.
This Tinker did get like 8 minute, like 40-second to travel. Like this Tinker's going to start like snowballing way faster than you would normally expect to see. And here we are, 22 minutes with a level 1 Dagon, a Blink Dagger, and a Ghost Scepter. And I mean, he's definitely gonna build into an E-Blade, and then what are you going to do? This Wind Ranger definitely needs a BKB, by the way. I've changed my mind, and BKB is the obvious choice. But it looks like she's building into a mechanism, which is definitely not what the team needs. I know we're talking about this Wind Ranger a lot, but she's kind of the different thing that's happening here. And so there's a lot of theory behind what she should be building, I guess.
Yep, Blink Dagger coming out on the Tidehunter. That's even better for the Radiant. And looks like the Lion is going a mech. He won't have it for a long time. That's one of the bad things about not having someone who's farming going mech. Clockwork instead opting for the Force Staff. Probably to make it, because he's just scared of the PA. Like, he doesn't want to cogs and then have PA jump in. He wants to be able to escape his cogs easier and trap her inside. If she leaps inside and then he Force Staffs out, then she's trapped, and that's actually really bad for PA. So that, I think it's like it's a sacrifice to get, like, have to go a first item Force Staff on a Clockwork, but it kind of fixes his mana issues, and it might be the best option here. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like, they have a PA, and they have specifically like this Ogre who can get really lucky with just Fire Blast like stuns. You need to be able to save people and get people to like a safe distance. So Force is probably the best option.
Smoke of Deceit. 420 Blaze It here on the Dire side. They're ready to make something happen. They don't have their Storm Spirit right now, but he can leap in, and Windrunner's actually smoked as well. I didn't see that she was a part of it. Just clipped her on the edge, and so maybe they'll make something happen, but they're being really apprehensive as Tidehunter is the one to reveal the smoke, and unfortunately he has that Blink Dagger. They didn't actually know that, and well, it was a really unfortunate. Did they have high ground vision? They did. So they saw him, and then it just got revealed. I think they were just like, yeah, we can get him. Like, let's go on Tidehunter, but he actually had that Blink Dagger. Windranger still smoked in the bottom, hoping that maybe Tinker would come in and like try to go on the Storm Spirit, but I think the Storm Spirit's still strong enough right now where he can't get one-shot combo by the Tinker. Actually, I take that back because I see an E-Blade now on the Tinker. I don't know how long he's had that, but I have not seen him use that combo quite yet.
He just got it a second ago.
Yeah, DD being popped on the Storm Spirit, and actually he goes on the perfect target. Rubik's instantly dead. His Clockwork hookshots on the Tidehunter. It's perfect. Double initiation. Ravage gets used just before he dies, though. Now it's the PA and the Ogre Magi. The Windranger is so low, though. Rated up to the Tinker. Instantly dies by the Tinker. Now the PA is so low. She tries to go, but she dies in the event, and I guess in the process. And now Witch Doctor gets annihilated by the Tinker as well. He's so close, but it wasn't enough on the combo to actually do the complete kill. Ogre Magi going the way as well as Tinker's trying to actually TP away, but the Battery Assault gets him right on the last tick of it. But Tinker's not going to have to die from this because, well, that's it. There's not enough damage, and, well, it goes the way of the Dire. Right on. I did not, it was just the initiation was amazing there. Tinker was able to do a lot of work, but it wasn't enough.
I'm really surprised because that Ravage hit everybody. It like instantly canceled the Death Ward, and Clock got really low really quick, it looked like, and like PA was critting people pretty ferociously right in the beginning, and it didn't look good, but they made it work, which is way surprising, I would say.
One thing that I remember seeing about why it kind of went the Dire side's way is after the Ravage happened, the stun duration wasn't beneficial to the Radiant because they weren't in position to actually start acting yet. Like they were just sitting there on the ground stunned to like no actual avail. And Windranger goes down to Tinker. I really got to watch this guy because the kills are going to come now. He's going to start doing his thing. And as I say that, Clockwork goes down to the PA. PA's, well, went a Vlad's and a Basher. So the stuns are coming out, just allowing those crits to happen, and Clockwork was just fodder to that coup de grace. All right, now we gotta be on our spot. We gotta think about who's gonna be able to kill who. It's gonna be the Storm Spirit, it's gonna be the Tinker, and the PA. Gotta watch those people.
I was saying I was worried for the Dire team earlier in the draft that like all of them are gonna be too squishy to like stand up to this Tinker, and this Tinker is just killing people like left and right. Which, I mean, he's way ahead, way farther than he should be, in my opinion, but that E-Blade Dagon and all of his abilities, it's gonna be rough.
Rip in peace, Rubik here, next to the bot rune. Going straight uphill, not the best time ever. Perfect gank coming out from Storm Spirit, and Tinker and the rest of the Radiant are grouped up a little bit. What should they do? I mean, they have like a lot of their towers. They should be able to get tons of map control. Notice that this ward is diminishing, but it was there, and so they've seen everyone. A new fresh ward being placed here. The mid lane is going to be totally gankable by the Tinker and the PA, and so I really like the map control coming out from the Radiant. They're feeling really good right now. And
so
Rosh
something really funny that's been happening is these guys have been counter-warding sentries in this one location like 3 times now.
Which location?
The bottom rune.
Oh yeah,
like,
back and forth.
They've specifically only been countering these sentries. They haven't been countering anything else. Each of them will drop a sentry next to the other sentry and kill their sentry.
And now Clockwork goes on this Ogre Magi, and he actually gets the stun off. I think the cast point was reduced, so that was that buff kind of coming out, but it wasn't enough. He definitely goes down, but as the Radiant tried to reinitiate, are they going to come in on this? There's going to be a Phantom Strike pretty soon. The Stifling Dagger wasn't thrown. Tinker goes in, trying to do what he can to burst. He actually rearms right in the way, but Phantasm gets Storm Spirit off in the back lines, interestingly enough. Was there a silence or something? I'm not sure. Probably a first hit Bash Dodo, that's what it was, of course. That'll do it. And that is a 1-for-1 trade. A support for a Storm Spirit, not necessarily good for the Dire, so Radiant's feeling really good once again. The Earth Spike coming down. Wow, this Tinker is going ham. Actually goes back on the Windranger, completely destroys her. RNG takes the wheel. And
RNGesus takes the wheel.
Yeah. RNGesus takes the wheel. That's funny.
Yeah, clever. Dota community.
Clever. Yeah, so Ravage is up too. They are able to know that they can man up right now. This next fight's gonna feel good for them. And is Rosh on the menu? The Dire was thinking about it, circling it before, or maybe that was the Tinker just thinking that the Dire was doing it. But the Radiant actually just walking up to the mid tower. They think that they can do this without Roshan. Here comes Tinker. Are they gonna kill this creep? No, he actually gets here. And the March is here. The March is real. The bots are actually gonna kind of miss. But yeah. So Radiant's manning up. They're like, well, I think that we're strong enough, despite the fact that I think PA could definitely use more items, and she certainly could use a BKB, but they're fighting. Do you think this is a mistake, or do you think that them fighting right now is something that is on the menu?
They have Ravage up. I feel like you should try to use Ravage every time you can until it's obvious that you're going to lose fights even with Ravage.
And they put up a ward right on the high ground. This is perfect. Whenever you want to fight, you put up a ward, and this is good. Oh, this Lion is instantly destroyed. Clockwork's really to follow right after that. Just getting decimated. Tinker's on the chase. You're not going to find anyone, though. Throws down a March from the incoming wave. It spawned at the 30. And this is going to be a tower going the way of the Radiant without much contest because Ravage is up and there's only 3 ready for the Dire, and certainly nothing is going to happen from that. The Witch Doctor on the item front has been trying to build this Aghanim's for the longest time, which I think is pretty smart because, yeah, there's PA that can dodge the spell bolts from Death Ward, but the rest of the team can't necessarily do that. And although I was going to say that Tinker has that E-Blade now, so that's another way to prevent damage from that Witch Doctor ult. That's unfortunate. As soon as the tower goes down, the Dire's ready to fight. Ravage instantly comes out, hits all 3. Now there's the damage not there from the Dire, and now Radiant's turning it. The Electric Vortex stolen by the Rubik. I haven't seen that very much. The Storm Spirit's able to go away, but the Finger of Death rips him from the inside. Witch Doctor's on the back lines, doing his Voodoo Restoration as Storm Spirit goes down right here. Tinker's going ham. He went right up to the tower. Completely ultra kill coming out from Tinker. He was bouncing around doing so much damage that whole fight. Wrecked indeed, and GG from the Dire. Good game. Tinker showed his true power. Being played by Noob, not Olimar and Louis. So the Radiant's like, well, okay, fine. Dirty Tinker Picker, fine. You can say that it's Olimar and Louis, but it's actually going to be Noob playing that Tinker. So
this is why Tinker is going to get nerfed. Maybe so. I did read something on Reddit. Maybe it's just Reddit being Reddit, but Tinker is gonna get nerfed. Like it's gonna happen.
Yep. Like his early game is what's so gimped, right? But I don't know. He's just like people. It's just hard to counter him early game. It's easy to like gank him, but if you have someone else like a PA, like it's hard to gank multiple people at the same time. That's always like the tough part. It's like, okay, we can punish this, but then it's actually like pretty technically hard to punish. Like you gotta like have good smokes, you have to have good wards, you have to de-ward, you have to block camps, you have to know where the other team is in order to know where you can gank, where you should be, and on the same time not get ganked yourself and not take even trades. So we're gonna have another game right after this as soon as the lobby comes up, which in fact I'm just gonna close out of this window so that we can see if there's another lobby. And another benefit of this Rankshis of having you in Skype rather than in game is that you don't end when the match ends.